I got a good question about bar chord technique and not hurting yourself from M. Nelson. I think that's a really good question because it is possible to really hurt your wrists or your neck or your elbow. And I actually have like this part of my neck is really messed up from the guitar. And I don't know if there would have been a way to avoid it. At this point, I'm just kind of over worrying about it. But I have like this muscle right here is like huge compared to right here. And talked to some of my other students, like one of my students plays like 8 hours a day. He was super into it. And he was saying he had the same thing, his neck was getting all messed up. So I mean, like the first thing like that you can do is hold the guitar like this and sit up straight. Like this classical style is actually much healthier. It just, a lot of people think it looks really stupid where you put it on, I'm wearing all black, but put it on your left leg and you hold it like this. I've heard this is actually much better, and it actually feels really good. It just, a lot of people think it looks really stupid. They'd rather kind of hunch over and play like that. So I actually do hold it like this sometimes when I'm sore. But I'm so used to holding the guitar like this at this point, it feels weird to me. Like, I mean this, like even for picking, it just feels kind of weird. But sometimes if my elbow's sore, like right now it's a little sore in my neck, I will just hold it like this, like for an hour or however long I'm playing. So that's one thing you can try, just for general technique. And a lot of people use like a footstool. So that's like one thing that I found is a good thing to know about. As for bar chords, like right now, like my wrist is like a little bit bent. Like when I'm doing this F bar chord, which is a common one. Partly I think I don't try to hold the guitar like way back. I'm definitely not, you don't want to angle like that. But right now, like my wrist is pretty straight. Like it really doesn't hurt right here. So it's just kind of figuring out like where to put your thumb so that you get enough pressure. But also like there's a little curve to my wrist, but I never have wrist, like sometimes it kind of pops, but it doesn't hurt, and it's not like, remember when I first started playing, I used to hurt my wrist more, but that's because I think I just didn't know where to put my thumb. Also, I think just figuring out where to hold the guitar. So right now, like my thumb is right there. And again, like you shouldn't have pain in your elbow. You shouldn't have pain here. I mean, I have pain here just because I've played guitar like 4 hours a day for 10 years, at least. So I think there's almost no way to avoid this because it's just like your muscle tenses up. If you think about it, when your arm is up like this, it's like this muscle is a little tensed. And same thing with this arm is actually like stronger than my other one. Like noticeably, like this muscle is way bigger on this arm than my other one. Which is weird, it's just from this holding the guitar. But like, I don't have any pain here. Like I remember when I first started playing, I would get pain in my elbow and my wrist. So I mean, part of that I think is unavoidable when you're learning, but you definitely like don't need to be like going like this or something. Like you know, do the full bar chord if you need it, but like let's say like someone wants me to play F for like an hour straight. I'm probably not going to do this. Like, let's say it was F. And then I needed to go to B flat. I had to do that a lot. I would just start playing it like this. This is how I play bar chords a lot, so I can have my wrist totally straight. Like, this is much more comfortable. And you'll notice a lot of performers do this, where you drop out the bottom note. I think part of why they do it is because, first of all, they're standing up. And bar chords are even more awkward when you're standing. Unless you hold your guitar up high. So like, I think a lot of them do this too because it's a bit easier on your wrist. And it's easier on your fingers because there's no bar. So I play F like this more often. And it's faster. And then when I slide up, because right now my wrist is like really straight. Whereas here it's going to be a little bit bent. Like not too much. I have some students do this and I always figure out a way to correct it because it shouldn't be like that. But it should be, it's going to have like a little bit, like I tell how bent my wrist is. But it's a little bit bent, but it's not like, it doesn't hurt. Whereas this, when I'm doing it this way, Like, this is really comfortable. It's almost bent the other way. It actually feels good. Like, it feels good to hold your arm like this when you're doing this for a while. And then if you really need the bass, you can grab it with your thumb. Or I'll just play like, sometimes I'll just play like maybe just part of the bar chord. I mean, it doesn't really help your wrist, but it takes off some of the tension, like just the bottom of it. So yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts about the F bar chord. The other thing is that was happening to me a lot was I have pretty gnarly calluses on my fingers at this point, but like this finger was going numb. Like this was like 2 years ago. My finger kept going numb because I was using 12 gauge strings, and this used to happen to me a lot. I don't know why. I never realized why not just buy thinner strings. So now I only buy 10 gauge strings. And sometimes they're electric guitar strings, so they're really thin. And like your guitar won't sound as loud, but I mean it still sounds pretty good. I think also when I first started playing guitar, I would strum too hard or something. I don't know, but I would break my strings a lot more than I do now. Like I don't break strings very often anymore, unless they're old. Whereas when I first started playing, I think I was getting too wild and just being like playing really hard all the time. I don't know, but I would break strings a lot, so somehow I ended up using 12s. But now with 10s, like this is just not very much work. Like push down, if you get the right technique, it's just not hard. But it does start to get tiring on your muscles and like your wrist if you have to do this a lot. So you can try that. And then this chord requires even more awkwardness. This type of major chord, I think this is the most uncomfortable chord on the guitar. So like I hate this chord. When it's up higher, it's not that bad. Like right here, it's actually kind of comfortable. When it's down here, starts right here is okay, and then when you start getting up here, all of a sudden it just feels different. But down here, it really takes a toll on your fingers if you do this a lot. So what I like to do for this chord, unless you really need the bass, I usually just play it like this. So I do F and B flat, like, or even, or I might do it like, instead of the bar, because also when you do this, like your thumb has a lot of pressure on it right here. So it's just kind of figuring out what works for you like that. Trying to think what else has caused me pain playing guitar. I mean, of course you get pain when you're not used to it in your fingers, but that's just an issue of building up calluses. So I mean, there's no way around that unless you play enough to get calluses on your fingers. But really F and B flat, those shapes, and the closer you get to the nut, that's the hardest thing about guitar, I think. I can't really think of anything else that caused me pain aside from when this was going numb, like my finger would go completely numb. Because I think pushing down on 12 gauge and you roll on the side of your finger a little bit when you do bar chords, it was like damaging the nerves in my finger or something, or it would like pinch a nerve and my whole finger would be numb for the whole day, or for a few days. So yeah, that's it actually. I guess just try doing this more often. You can even do, like, when I first started playing guitar, I would like learn the shape, like, I could do that, but I had a hard time with minor chords for some reason, but really it's not that bad. You just gotta shift your finger down one string and just bar it. Some people are good at playing the whole minor bar chords like this, with this. I've never been good at that, so I don't worry about this bass note. But I've seen a lot of people, they can play like the full bar chords like that. I actually find that's more uncomfortable. I'd rather just go. Or if I'm going for comfort, I'll just drop out the 6th string note altogether. Or otherwise, if I need the bass, I'll do that. But I do use my thumb a lot, not trying to grab the highest note. For me, it's like not that bad to do this. If I need to strum up to here, then I do this a lot. Something about trying to get all those notes to ring out, it doesn't sound clean, and it like kind of hurts, like getting your thumb up here and like it starts to tense up. But if I only need to strum to the G string, I do that a lot. And learning how to use your thumb on an F chord is really essential, I find, like learning how to do this at some point, because there's a lot of cases where you need F. and you can't really get to this. Like the most common one is just F major 7. That's the only way you can do that, because if you do a bar, I mean, there's no way to make that happen. But I find I'll sometimes do like that kind of stuff. It's good to know to do that. So that's pretty much it. I thought I'd have more thoughts about this, but like everything else isn't that bad. I mean, I think it's important. Like there's a lot of other techniques that are important to learn, like how to play up on the tips of your fingers and keep your fingers firm. But none of that stuff really hurts. And if you do it wrong, it's not really gonna hurt. The main thing that hurts is just if you're. So yeah, I guess the last thing I could say is like a lot of my students like get in these weird positions. Like sometimes it's because they're sitting in a chair that's too high, or they're sitting weird on their couch. So it's just like you just gotta think like why would you be sitting like curled up in like a weird position? Like I think a lot of times it's just you're doing something new and you're not thinking about the rest of your body. You're thinking maybe they're really concentrating, I hope, on like the lesson or something. But sometimes you just gotta check yourself and think like, how am I sitting? So that's it. Thought I'd have more to say about this, but really that's it. So hope that was helpful. Okay, bye.